Saturday night is one of the biggest and potentially maybe the most important fight of Shakur Stevenson's young career. And while I say this, you might be looking at it as, wait, who's he fighting? Artem This guy, we don't know who he is. I'm not saying it's a big fight, but it's an important fight for Shakur Stevenson for a variety of different reasons that I'm going to explain. First, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment below. Who do you want Shakur to fight next after this fight? Shakur Stevenson is back in the ring on Saturday night. This will be his first time since his November fight against Edwin De Los Santos, which around the boxing community is regarded as one of the worst fights of 2023. A fight that lowered the stock of Shakur. Personally, it's the worst fight I've ever seen and really given Shakur a label of being a runner. Going back to the De Los Santos fight, this was a fight that it was rare. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think there was only really one round where there were double-digit amount of punches landed in a round. And while Shakur does have amazing defense, I'd be a hater to say that he doesn't. There was a difference that night between defense and just not engaging your opponent. Shakur is going to tell you, I had a hand injury. I'm not one of those people that necessarily believe. Maybe his hand was hurting, but if you go back and watch that fight, his corner was telling him to throw the left hand, the so-called hand that was hurt coming into the fight. Personally, I take that as an excuse and I don't buy it. But what that did was it created a label for Shakur. Shakur's a runner. Shakur doesn't want to engage, doesn't have any power, afraid of power. And while I don't really think that those are necessarily true, he didn't do himself to disprove those rumors. Being at 135, the fights were going into that De Los Santos fight, a Devin Haney fight. Devin had just moved up to 140. He was about to fight Regis Prograis the next month. So there was a chance, hey, maybe he might come back to 35 for that fight. But that was kind of up in the air. That was one option. Another was Lomachenko on Top Rank side. That was going to be a unification bout. That was going to be a big fight. Third, Gervonta Tank Davis. A fight that a lot of boxing fans want. And at the time, a lot of boxing fans were split on, with a lot of people thinking Shakur's boxing prowess, his IQ, would be able to beat out Tank. So what's happened between that fight against De Los Santos to now, here in July, when he's going up against Artem Harutyunyan? One, Shakur, I talked about it, his stock has plummeted. He's really gained a notion, like I said, being a runner. That fight against De Los Santos, if you go anywhere, if you go to any of his tweets, which we'll talk about his tweets, in the comments you'll see screenshots of him kind of looking the other way and running. People continue to call him a runner. It hurt his stock as just from a perspective, it was on a Thursday night in Las Vegas and people were walking out of the stadium. They were booing the entire night. That's why against Artem, he needs to stand in the pocket, I believe, and put on a show. Even if he doesn't get a knockout, he needs to prove he can engage and show off his defense, which is elite. Show the defense that he can stay in the pocket and he doesn't have to do a whole bunch of moving and kind of running to prove that's defense. Reason number two, this is his last fight on his Top Rank deal. A deal that he's talked about openly. He doesn't mind getting away from Top Rank. This potentially could be his last fight on Top Rank. You look at the landscape right now. The Devin Haney fight isn't happening anytime soon. Lomachenko, well, it looks like Lomachenko is actually in talks to fight against Gervonta Davis. They're just skipping Shakur. They're just going past him, saying, Bob Arum's saying, you know what, no, I'm going to give Lomachenko that chance. He's said Lomachenko would bring a better fight. Lomachenko would put more butts in the seats. He would sell the fight better than Shakur. I feel like Bob Arum has really talked down about Shakur these past few months, especially for a guy that has the potential to re-sign Shakur. But that's the thing. Who would sign Shakur if he was going to be a free agent? Because, again, he has not proven to be a box office attraction. Never headlined, never been on a pay-per-view, not really selling tickets, doing a lot of hometown shows. Yeah, you can sell out your home, Newark, New Jersey, but when you go to Vegas, people are walking out of the fight, and you're fighting on Thursday night. And granted, that's not always his fault. Fighting on Thursday night, that's a Top Rank thing. You don't see these other guys like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis fighting on a Thursday night. 3, Shakur talks a lot of crap. If you follow him on Twitter, it's like every day he's engaging with someone. If someone even criticizes him, he's going back at him like, you don't know boxing. He's going back and forth with fighters. Him and Gervonta Davis went back and forth for hours a few months ago. And the thing is, he's lost a lot of people that way. It's like, Shakur, man, you've had a bad performance. Just shut everything down and go silence the haters. That's what he has to do Saturday night. He has to silence the haters and just shut everybody up. Boxing, again, is a recency bias sport. Whoever fought last, that's what fans are going to gravitate towards. Look at last year, for example. Shakur, he made his lightweight debut. Oh, he's the best at lightweight. He's only had one fight. A few weeks later, Tank beat Ryan Garcia. Oh, Tank beats everybody, including Devin and Shakur. Devin fights a month later, has a close win against Lomachenko. Oh, no, Devin's no good. Devin fights against Regis Prograis in December, has a great performance, combined with Shakur's awful performance back in November. Devin beats everybody. You see what I'm saying? It's fluid. And a good performance from Shakur, that goes a long way. Even it's against Artem Haratunian, who he should be. Haratunian has not fought since he lost to Frank Martin last year. A fight that, honestly, he really was in there against Frank Martin. He did a great job, almost got the upset. But Shakur's talked about Frank Martin being a joke. He said Frank Martin only got big because he turned down a fight with Shakur. Well, you're going to go against a guy Frank Martin already beat. If you're going to show the elite level, the top 3, top 2, you potential best at the 135 division, you got to put on a showing. You can't just barely scrape out a win against a guy who you're claiming only got famous because he turned down a fight with you beat. This is a huge night for Shakur. And lately, he's kind of scaled it back on Twitter. He's locked in. I think he knows how big this moment is. He's going to have to stand in the pocket and trade punches. And to be fair, even if he does that and gets a solid win, he's not going to get a lot of credit because it is Artem Haratunian. But that doesn't matter for Shakur. He just needs to get that performance back, a good performance back, and show the people, hey, one bad night in the office does not dictate who I am. Because at the end of the day, again, he could go sign to Matchroom potentially. I don't think that's going to happen. Eddie Hearn said something, but what are the fights there? At the end of the day, I think he's going to stay with Top Rank. And if he wants some leverage, he's going to have to put on a performance. If he wants a Tank fight, he's going to have to put on a performance because we know how Bob Arum treats Lomachenko over Shakur. So this is a huge night for Shakur Stevenson. He's got to put on a show and just regain the trust of the boxing community. I think he's going to do it Saturday night, but if he doesn't, Shakur is going to be in for a long one until he does. Because it has gotten ruthless. Shakur's done interviews, goes back on Twitter. For Shakur, he needs to mature and put on a good performance. And once he does that, there's no limit to how good he can be. Saturday's a huge night. I think Shakur does it, but does he do it in a convincing manner? We'll see. Make sure you comment below. What do you think we're going to see Saturday night? Like this video, subscribe to the Never Drop podcast. I have all the boxing news coming to you. That's all I got for you tonight. Peace. I'm out.